We good? Good evening. Can everybody hear me? Yes, we're good? Welcome to the Town of Warren's annual town meeting. It's Thursday, June 11th, 2026. I'm your town moderator for this evening, Dario Nardi. Before we begin, will you please join me for the Pledge of Allegiance? Over here. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Take a moment to remember an individual who passed recently who was the town moderator, Mr. Vincent McCaughey. Some of you knew him as Vinny. I remember I've known Vinny for about 24 years. He appointed me to the Finance Committee. He was a moderator for our town for about 12 years, from 2011 to 2023. He recently passed in April. He was an attorney. He served many municipalities as their legal counsel. I always call Vinny a good guy. He was a straight shooter. You knew where you stood with Vinny. He was a no-nonsense guy. But he passed in April, and I'm sure his family, his wife, children, his grandchildren. I mean, he was an avid fan of the sports here at Quabog. He would come and watch the games. He coached the youth Little League. He did a lot for the community, and he was a good guy. I miss Vinny being here. I took over for him afterwards, so when I heard that after I found out in May, I was just shocked. He just retired, and it's just unfortunate, but you never know. So, if you wouldn't mind, please join me for a moment of silence for Mr. McCaughey. Thank you. All right, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to go over some of my housekeeping, which Vinny used to say, and then I have a few people that would like to speak. So upon coming in this evening, I've been informed. You can't hear me? So if you can't hear me, let me know. I will move it closer. If I speak too fast, let me know. Not a problem. I have no problem with that. So I've been informed by the town clerk that the warrant has been duly posted and returned, and we have met the town's quorum requirements, so we can conduct the town's business this evening. Upon registering, you should have come in and registered at the front and received the clicker. This is how we'll be voting tonight. We'll go through the articles, read the motions. I will read all the motions. We'll open them up for debate and discussion. We'll close the discussion down. We'll move to a vote. I'll ask the town clerk to open the vote. I'll give you about 15 seconds. I'll announce 5 seconds, and then I'll ask the clerk to close the vote, and the totals will appear on the screen behind me as to whether the motion passes or fails. Any questions? Everybody has a clicker. If you need to address the town this evening, we have a microphone here in the front. I'd appreciate if you could go there. If you're handicapped or elderly and you can't get there, if you could stand and speak loudly. If you can't hear them, let me know. I'll gladly repeat the question or whatever was asked, or I'll ask the person to repeat themselves, but speak loud and clear so cable access can hear it. We're also being video and audio taped this evening and broadcasting live on cable access. And streaming too, I believe. I'm not sure. Yes? Yes. So with that, I do want to first take one voice vote to recognize a few individuals that may need to address the town this evening. So I'm going to make a motion and ask for a second, and then we'll take a vote just to allow those individuals to speak if they need to speak because they're not residents of the town. So I'm going to make a motion to allow the town administrator, Mr. James Ferreira, the police chief, Mr. Gerald Millette, and Town Council, Copeland and Page, Mr. Jeffrey Blake, to be able to address the town if called upon to do so this evening. Do I have a second? Second. I have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor signal by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. I also have the town administrator would like to address the town this evening. One last thing before he steps up. Registered voters should be towards the center. If we could have non-registered voters to the outside, that would be great. It's not the end of the world, but if you could stay to the outside if you're a non-registered voter, that would help. And I will turn it over to our town administrator, Mr. James Ferreira.
Thank you, Dario, and good evening, everybody. Fiscal year 26 has been a very busy but productive year for the town. We have celebrated many accomplishments together. Here are some of the ones that I would like to highlight for you tonight. With the support of the Board of Selectmen, I'm pleased to report the town recently placed a total of $350,000 in its stabilization account, bringing its totals to approximately 2.8 million in general stabilization and over 800,000 in capital stabilization. Through the hard work of our elected officials, municipal employees, I am pleased to report to you the town's fiscal position remains strong. For the first time in over 10 years, the town successfully held a public auction of its town-owned properties that were obtained through the tax title foreclosure process. I am pleased to report to the town recovered $320,000 at the auction and sold 12 of the 14 properties that were listed. These properties are now currently back on the tax rolls with rehabs underway. I would encourage all of our residents to visit the town's new, exciting, and informative website, www.warren-ma.gov. The new website is more user-friendly for the public and staff, but most importantly, it will meet the digital access compliance requirements for Title II. As your town administrator, one of my top priorities has been to aggressively seek out and apply for both state and federal grants. I am pleased to report that this year alone, the town secured over $1 million in state and federal grants. We are strategically using those grants to offset budget expenses, which will ultimately save you, the taxpayers, money, while improving services and the overall quality of life in town. We are continuing to improve and maintain all our town buildings. We have invested $25,000 in an annual preventative maintenance plan for our buildings. Just a quick update on the special task force that was assembled to examine the cost of insurance. The task force met and determined that the town's current plans are the most cost-effective. We will continue to monitor future costs and look for opportunities to potentially save money. Personally, I'd like to thank the former Selectman David Dufresne for his years of service to the town and to welcome our newest Selectman, Ray Capaco, to the board. Let's give them a round of applause. The budget before you this evening is a culmination of 6 months of hard work and long hours between town departments, the Finance Committee, Capital Planning, and the Board of Selectmen and myself. This is a level services budget. The FY27 budget as presented represents a total increase of only 2.71% over the current fiscal year's budget. In these challenging financial times, this slight increase reflects sound fiscal management. And I want to publicly acknowledge and thank all who contributed and worked hard on this year's budget. It was truly a team effort. Congratulations, everybody. I am proud to stand before you tonight and to report to you the town is not reducing services or laying off staff or asking you to consider an override vote. Currently, there are over 50 communities within the state who are asking their citizens for an override to fund their services. We are not one of them. I am also very proud to point out that we are using 0 reserves and 0 free cash to balance this budget. We must continue sound fiscal practices which will continue to move our town forward. Finally, my door is always open for any resident or business owner. Stop by and chat. Please do so. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Ferreira. That is welcome news and good news. I'll be the first to advocate for air conditioning in the auditorium, though, but that could be one of the Mr. Duff, I see you out there somewhere. So with that being said, we're going to be moving on with the meeting and the budget. And as I stated, I will read all the motions. I'll read who's sponsoring the article. I'll read the motion, and then I'll wait for a second. I'm hoping that the town clerk can respond by saying "so moved" as a reminder for me, please, and then I'll look for a second. So with nothing within, does anybody have any questions before we proceed? Real quickly. No? Seeing none, we're going to move forward. Okay. Article 1, sponsored by the Board of Selectmen, and the motion reads as follows. I move to hear reports from town officers and all standing and special committees. Do I have a second?
Second.
Motion's been made and second. Is there any discussion regarding this motion? Seeing none, we'll move to a vote. Open the vote, please. Five seconds. Close the vote. Motion carries. Article 2. This is also sponsored by the Board of Selectmen, and the motion reads as follows. I move that the town vote to authorize the Board of Selectmen to appoint all necessary town officers not previously chosen by ballot. Lori, do I have a second?
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded. Any discussion regarding this article? Seeing none, we'll move to a vote. Can you open a vote, please? Five seconds. Close the vote. Motion carries. Article 3, sponsored by the Fire Department, and the motion reads as follows. I move that the town vote to fund 2 new full-time firefighter/EMT positions and to raise and appropriate the sum of $74,568, $37,284 per position for compensation for the fiscal year 2027, October 1st through June 30th. Lori? Thank you. Do I have a second?
Second.
I have a second. Is there any discussion regarding this article? Yes, ma'am.
More positions to the fire department like that, will we have to, will bringing 2 more positions to the fire
Check.
department, will that put us over the threshold?
Pull it down, it's not.
I think it's off. It might be off.
Thank you.
All right.
Will bringing 2 more full-time people on the fire department, will the town have to provide sleeping quarters or anything like that? Do any upgrades to the fire station with those 2 new positions?
Chief?
Good evening, everyone. Before I answer that question, if I could just explain this article just a little bit, shed some clarity on that before we get into that. So this article is completely contingent on a successful grant from FEMA, okay? The article, if approved tonight, those 2 full-time positions were to be approved, they will only be filled and funded if we receive positive word that we received the grant probably in the time frame of September. The Board of Selectmen allowed us to apply for what's called the SAFER grant. It stands for Staffing for Adequate Fire and Emergency Response through FEMA. It's a 3-year grant. That allows the federal government to fund 75% of the salaries for the 2 employees for the first year. 25% is picked up by the town. For the second year, again, it's 75% from the federal government, 25% salaries and benefits from the town. The third year is 65% from the town, 35% from the federal government. And then after that, we absorb those positions. So this is a great way for us to be able to transition slowly into this. What this will do for us is, for the first time ever, we can start to get away from the on-call system that we currently run that is getting harder and harder to fill, especially on the overnights. Right now, we staff the station from 7 a.m. to 11 p.m. With staff. We do not staff it overnight from 11 p.m. to 7 a.m. These 2 positions would allow us to have enough where we could staff 2 firefighter EMTs in-house pretty much around the clock and greatly increase our response time, especially on the overnights. So it'd be very beneficial for the town. To answer your question, yes, we would have to probably put some simple bunks, simple, pull-out mattresses up at the station to be able to have, sleeping quarters there if we were to move to a 24-hour system. But again, that's to be figured out if we get a successful grant. What else will happen is that if we get the grant, we were supposed to find out by June, but unfortunately because of the government shutdowns, the grant has been delayed until announcement till about September. The grant is in, it has been submitted. The other thing that will happen is that if we get the grant in November at the special town meeting, I will come back to you to reduce current line items that we're voting on tonight so that the 25% is not required to be raised and appropriated again. It'll come out of the current budget that we are voting on this evening out of some of our on-call line items. So that, it's not going to change our budget, it's not going to raise our budget, it will be covered within that. I've already talked to the FinCom and the Board of Selectmen, and they're well aware that that will happen in November at the special town meeting, so we're not going to be asking you for any additional money, we're just going to be moving it from one line item to another to be able to cover that 25% cost. So this would be a good win for the town, and it would be allow us to kind of upgrade our services, with our increase in call volume.
Thank you, Chief. Do you have another question? I'm sorry.
Oh, sure. Is there a place in the fire station for that already, if they had to put in sleeping quarters?
If we had to do that, yeah, we'd have to figure that out upstairs. We'd have to move in, we'd have to make an adjustment there, but I mean, it's not going to be in any extensive renovation or something like that, no. And again, this is only contingent, so there's not, everybody is understanding. These positions will not be filled unless we receive that grant.
Thank you, Chief. Are there any other questions? Sir?
Quick question, Chief. The numbers I see here,
John?
the numbers I see here are for 6 months. They're not for a full year. So next year, that cost will double. It will still be 25%, or how's that working?
So yes, if you look at it, in order to save, we've reduced the salaries currently to reflect a hiring date of probably October if we were to get that grant. So we don't have to ask for the full amount of the salaries right now. If we were to put those on there right now, you would be seeing that full amount. But the next year, if we were to get that, yes, it would be funded at the full amount. That's why you're seeing a partial amount, because these positions, even if we get the grant, we won't know till September, probably won't get someone in there till October. So that's why we kept those numbers lower, for that reason.
Thank you, Chief. Any other questions regarding this article? Seeing none, we're going to move to a vote. Open the vote, please. Five seconds. Close the vote. The motion carries. Okay. Article 4. So, ladies and gentlemen, as I read this motion, when we start to go through Article 4, which is going to be 4.1, 4.2, 4.3, as I go through the motion and I turn the page, when you're going to be following through with your books, I will be reading different line items. If there's something, as I'm reading this motion, that you want to discuss or put a hold on, let's say, for instance, it's moderator to regional dispatch, all I'm asking is that you yell out, hold. I'll put a mark on that number right there, on that line item. I'll continue on through the rest of these till we get to the end of that total, and then we'll go back and address the holds and open it up for discussion, and then we'll vote for that portion, okay? It's very similar to what we've done in the past. Does anybody have any questions regarding that? No? Okay. So Article 4.1, Article 4, Motion 4.1. This is sponsored by the Board of Selectmen. I move to raise and appropriate $3,674,089 to fix the salary and compensation of all affected elected officers and of the town as provided under General Law, Chapter 41, Subsection 108 of the Massachusetts General Laws, as amended, and to provide funding necessary to defray the expenses of the town for the ensuing year. First line is moderator to regional dispatch, $516,947. County retirement assessment to principal short-term debt, $1,841,147. Selectmen, town administrative expense, Selectmen, town administrative executive assistant to the administrative assistant expense, $54,652. Town administrator salary to procurement expense, $121,822. Law department expense to insurance workman's comp, $366,029. Reserve account to finance committee expense, $41,200. Town accountant salary to actual services, $119,295. Assessor salary to appraisal services, $110,723. Treasurer's salary to bank charges, services charges, $104,457. Tax collector salary to collector tax taking expense, $80,100. Town clerk salary, records RAO to presidential election expenses, $32,195. Planning board administrative assistant to planning board expenses, $20,952. Conservation Commission assistant to Conservation Commission expense, $16,643. Building inspector salary to building inspector expense, $38,427. Forester salary to pesticides, $17,500. And last, veterans agent salary to veterans benefits, $92,000. For a total general government A of $3,674,089. Lori? I have a motion. Do I have a second? Second. I have a second. Is there any further discussion? I didn't have any holds, so we're good to go. Seeing none, we're going to move to a vote on this portion here. You ready, Lori? Open the vote, please. 5 seconds. Close the vote. The motion carries. Okay. All right. This motion is also sponsored by the Board of Selectmen. Motion 4.2. I move that the town raise and appropriate $3,664,176 to fix the salary and compensation of all elected officers of the town as provided under General Law, subsection 108 of the Massachusetts General Laws as amended, and provided funding necessary to defray the expenses of the town for the ensuing year. We're going to start with animal control. Animal control officer salary to animal control expense, $15,200. Police chief salary to police chief maintenance and utilities, $1,162,363. Fire chief salary to emergency management expense, $897,495. Highway surveyor salary to highway grounds maintenance park cemetery, $850. Okay, I will hold. Right at. Cemetery clerk stipend to cemetery supplies, $7,200. Board of Health salaries to landfill leachate, $211,598. Council on Aging Director salary to Tri-Valley Services, $173,270. Warren Library to West Warren Library, $249,645. Last, Parks Commissioner salaries to summer recreational expense, $88,625. And that total, well, we have a hold, so before I read the total, I'm gonna go back and address the hold. All right. So we have a hold on highway surveyor salary to highway grounds maintenance park cemetery. Discussion, the hold. Who is requiring more information, young lady? Thank you. Microphone, please.
have to say yes. Well, I don't usually watch the selectmen's meetings, but I happened to catch one, and this is why I'm here tonight. Since the fiscal year 2020, or over the last 6 years, the salary for the position of the highway supervisor has increased by 54.4%, or $28,227. That's not including the 5% increase that he is asking for. The average salary since that year, the increase has been 9.1%. Granted, this position, he's not allowed overtime. However, when he ran for this position, he knew it. The highway supervisor is also the tree warden, and that carries an annual stipend of an extra $6,000. I'd like the town to reconsider and only give him the 2.5% raise recommended by the Finance Committee.
Okay, thank you. Ma'am,
Kathleen Banas, Miller Drive.
can you step a little closer?
Closer?
Thank you.
I oppose the proposed 5% raise for the highway supervisor when other town employees are receiving 2.5% increase. His current salary is already comparable to that of highway supervisors in similar communities. While he has stated publicly at a select board meeting that he has multiple job offers and could leave at any time, I do not believe that is a sufficient reason to grant a larger raise than other employees. More importantly, this year, the Highway Department missed a critical deadline for Chapter 90 funding, putting approximately $300,000 at risk. Although the state has agreed to release the funds, and the delay has created uncertainty and has prevented those funds from being available for consideration at this town meeting. Other town employees stepped up and assisted resolving this situation. I recognize and appreciate his volunteering services on many town committees. However, many town employees and residents volunteer their time as well, and committee participation is not part of the highway supervisor's job description. Volunteer activities should not be used as the basis for a larger salary increase. I do not believe a raise that is double what other employees are receiving is justifiable. For these reasons, I urge voters to reject the 5% raise and maintain fairness and consistency with the 2.5% increase being provided to all other town employees.
Thank you. Mr. Olson?
Good evening, everyone. Jeremy Olson, I'm your highway surveyor. I've been in this position for now 7 years. As been very well stated, this position was massively underpaid when I took it. I did know what the salary was. I did know what compensation should be for this position, which is why I've worked extra hard every single year and then asked for a fair compensation with my efforts that I brought to the table. As far as comparisons to other communities, town of Brimfield, right below us, 64 miles of road, same number of miles of road as us. Last year made $86,188. He's set to make just under $90,000 this year. Town of Holland, $87,000 last year. I mean, again, we can go on and on. These are all comparable communities. They are making more money than I am, even with a 5% increase. So that addresses that. The Chapter 90 situation was unfortunate. I was able to correct the situation. We squared it up. All the money is back in our account. It will be cleared for our November special. We'll be able to spend it all then. It was unfortunate there's a delay, but the money is in the bank. It is our money, and it is all back where it belongs. And then finally, the third thing, we discuss going above and beyond. I'm asking for an extra $1,996 above what the Finance Committee recommended. Simply put, I put the extra energy and effort into my position. I hope to warrant that increase, starting with my grant writing. I single-handedly have written multiple grants this year, and we have received $345,000 of free money because of the grants that I wrote, that I not only now wrote, but now I have to manage those grants. So once we receive those funds, there's a lot of extra work to put that money in place, to manage the funds, to guide the projects, making sure everything is according to the way the grants were written. All these things add up. We talk about extra time. Yes, I worked 300 hours of unpaid overtime this winter alone. That's pretty close to common. Somewhere between 200, 300 hours a year over what a standard 40-hour-a-week job would require. Nights, weekends, holidays, I was there with my crew through every single one of them, start to finish. First guy in the door, last guy going home. At the end of the day, I truly feel like I put the extra energy and effort into this position for our town to succeed. And I really feel this year I've made a big step forward with our grant writing. I also currently just applied for a $413,000 grant to look into rebuilding and fixing the downtown culvert, which is buried several hundred feet underneath our downtown intersections. All the Main Street and gas station and post office, it's all affected by this flood zone. Again, all this extra time, energy, and effort I put in is because I know these are the things I need to do when I stand in front of you and ask you for a little extra increase. So again, if that $1,996 is too much to ask for my community, I guess I have to understand and accept that. But I hope that you would vote in my favor, motivate, and continue to drive our community forward with more big projects, more big plans, lots of savings, and lots of free grant money. So, thank you.
Thank you, sir. Anybody else?
I appreciate what Mr. Olson does. However, I think every single department in this town writes grants, administers grants, and does that for all the townspeople. We are in a tight bind. Right now, we have money. Look next door and see what happened to them at West Brookfield. We cannot be given, when someone asks for an extra raise, everybody could be asking for 5%. I've watched different groups that have done extra time. They're not asking for that extra 5%. When you're hired at a salary, you know that means you have to put in extra hours. That's what a salary employee does.
Thank you. Ma'am. Or sir.
Hi, my name is Jim Dusty. I live in town for 13 years now. And I just have to say, if people actually knew what Jeremy does and what the highway department does as a team and the equipment that he manages, go down to the highway barn, look at all the equipment. None of it's new that I know of, very little. And they're always fixing things. They're always rubbing around. They have a street sweeper, okay, that dust is up in the cab because the thing is so obsolete and broken down. And you know, I see a lot of money being spent on capital equipment, but I have to tell you, the work that this man manages and the people that he oversees, we couldn't nearly get the work done with someone less than what he's willing to give us, with his talents, his skill, his energy, everything. And if you want to see the work he's done, go in his office. There are photographs of the roads that he has repaired and paved over and made safe throughout this town. Go up on Coy Hill now. Take a ride up there. His department, and through the leadership that he has given us, we have more bang for the buck from this man than anybody I know in this town. And sure, everybody has the right to get compensated for their efforts. But this man manages millions of dollars worth of equipment. He puts it to work as best he can. He manages a crew that loves him and supports him. And he's there all night long when we're home sleeping, okay? And we get up, the streets are safe. Excuse me? I'm speaking here, please. Okay, please. I don't
Okay.
speak when you speak.
All right.
Moderator, please.
Yes.
So I'm not going to say anything more, but this man deserves more than he's getting. And there's a movement in this town that wants to punish this man. Grow up.
Thank you, sir.
Mr. Moderator, I make a motion to amend this line item.
Do I have a second? So we have a motion and a second to amend this one item in this area here.
I was told that I need to make the motion to amend it and then make my motion what the amendment would be. So just go right to the motion? All right. Mr. Moderator, I make a motion to reduce the highway surveyor salary line from $84,124 to $82,128, with the corresponding highway department total line being reduced from $858,780 to $856,784.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, I have a motion. Do I have a second? So we have a motion and a second to reduce the highway department's total budget, operating budget, in that dollar amount. Is there any discussion regarding the motion and the second?
Yes, sir, Mr. Moderator.
Okay, go ahead, continue.
These are a bunch of facts that I wrote down. I'm not including any opinions in this. In March of this year, the highway surveyor met with the town administrator and myself to review his requested budget for the highway department. As part of that budget, he requested a salary increase of 5% for himself. I commended him for his overall budget increase being reasonable, and also commented that I appreciate him advocating for himself. I also offered the advice that he would do well to refrain from overstating his case, since doing so may negatively impact that very advocacy. He responded, as you've heard tonight, repeating everything that he had previously said to justify his salary. I asked him what he felt a fair salary would be for his position. He replied, $105,000. Later in March, the Finance Committee met and decided to reduce the requested salary increase to 2.5%. There were two primary reasons for this. Number one, as you've heard tonight, he's received large salary increases since he was first elected. I had gone back the last 5 years and saw it was at 38%. Apparently it's quite a bit more than that, 6 and 7 years. And these continued large annual increases are not sustainable. The second reason was because of his negligence in submitting for the Chapter 90 fund reimbursements of over $300,000, despite being prompted by the town treasurer, the town accountant, the town administrator, and through the select board numerous times. On April 10th, 2 of the 4 members of the Finance Committee resigned, and on April 11th, the 2 remaining members of the Finance Committee, that was now defunct, met with the Select Board to review the budget. This is something we do every year. At that meeting, Jeremy's salary request and his rationales for it were discussed at length. All present agreed with a 2.5% increase. On April 13th, Jeremy made a request to the selectmen to put on an upcoming select board meeting agenda to address this. At the April 23rd select board meeting, the matter was addressed again, and that meeting concluded with 2 of the 3 selectmen voting to change their original support of the 2.5% increase to supporting a 5% increase. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. I just want to point out, ladies and gentlemen, when you're looking in your book, because we're discussing the highway department right now, you're going to see the FY27 FinCom budget, which is the highway surveyor's salary, which is the number that was just announced in the motion. and then you're going to see the selectmen's proposed budget next to that. The numbers that I'm reading to you are the selectmen's budget. The selectmen's, that's the warrant itself, that's what's been posted. So I don't want you to be confused by the finance committee's budget and the difference with the selectmen. The numbers that I read, and I'm required to read because the warrant has been posted and signed by the select board, is the select board totals. So that's why you're seeing two numbers there, and I probably should have mentioned that prior to coming into this. So if you see that, that's where they differ from the finance committee. But I follow the selectmen's budget. So there's been a motion and a second to amend the highway surveyor's salary under the hold for the highway department. Is there any further discussion regarding this motion to amend the salary of the highway surveyor? I'm sorry? $748. Yep. Yes, that number is right, 856, 784. That is correct. That's the amended, that's what we're going to be voting on if it passes. We're voting that number now. Yep. So there's a motion and a second to lower that salary line item, which would lower the highway's total budget. A yes vote would lower the highway's budget and the highway surveyor's salary. A no vote would allow it to remain as what it is currently printed in the book. It would not change anything. Yes, ma'am.
I cannot really hear what you're saying.
I'm sorry.
I just want to know, is it going back or is he going to be given the 5%?
We haven't voted yet. A yes vote, if the yes vote passes, that will lower his salary. That will lower that salary and it will lower the highway budget. A no vote will leave it as is and will remain the same. Okay? You're welcome. Is there any other discussion regarding the motion that's on the floor? Seeing none. Selectman, do you have anything to add? No? Okay. Lori, are you set? It looks good. That amount looks good. Open the vote, please. Five seconds. Close the vote. The motion is defeated. So the number remains the same. There's no changes to the highway department's budget. So now I'm going to go back to 4-2. And I'm going to read the total. I'm just going to confer with council real quick. Jeff, can I read the total for 2 and then vote 2? Now that we've done that, because it hasn't changed? Okay. No, it hasn't changed. So for total government, I had a motion at the beginning, yes. 42, yes, and I went through it. Yep, the motion's in. I just want to read the grand total because it hasn't changed, and then we're going to vote on the grand total for Government B. The grand total for Government B is $3,664,176. So we have a motion, a second on that. Is there any questions regarding that? Seeing none. Lori, are you set? Open the vote, please. Five seconds. Close the vote. Motion carries. All right, motion 4-3. This is also sponsored by the Board of Selectmen. I move to raise and appropriate $457,851 to fund the assessment for the Pathfinder Regional Vocational Technical High School for the fiscal year beginning July 1st, 2026. Lori? Do I have a second? Second. I have a motion, a second. Is there any discussion regarding this motion? Seeing none, we're going to move to a vote. Lori, you ready? Open the vote, please. Five seconds. Close the vote. The motion passes. Motion 4-5. This is sponsored by the Board of Selectmen. This article is sponsored by the Board of Selectmen also. I move to raise and appropriate $4,948,469 to fund the FY27 Quabog Regional School District as follows. Warren minimum local contribution, $3,393,207. Above minimum contribution, $460,473. Above minimum contribution, $966,590. I'm going to hold for a second here. Am I skipping a line? Just looks like I'm off on this. Is transportation 966?
Yep.
I'm going to go back, ladies. I'm going to reread this motion because I merged the line in. I'm going to reread the motion. I move to raise and appropriate $4,948,469 to fund the FY27 Quabog Regional School District budget as follows. Warren's minimum local contribution, $3,393,207. Above minimum contribution, $460,473. Transportation, $966,590. And debt services for capital payments, $128,199. Quabog's total regional school district assessment, $4,948,469. Lori? Do I have a second? Second. I have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion regarding this article? That was tough.
Can everybody hear me?
Yes, I can.
Awesome. My name is Dara Brunel, and I'm speaking regarding the Quabog Regional School District appropriation contained within the town's omnibus budget. I want to be clear that I am not speaking against our schools, our students, or the town's overall budget. My concern is transparency. Residents are being asked to vote on a significant school district appropriation without access to a detailed line-by-line budget showing how those funds will be spent. A resident requested this budget directly from the district on June 1st and was told it would be provided at the West Brookfield Town Meeting last Tuesday. It was not provided. The town of Warren also formally requested this information back in April, and as of 1 p.m. today, Town Administrator Ferreira informed me that the town still has not received the complete line-by-line budget from the school district. Without this information, residents are being asked to approve millions of dollars in spending without the ability to fully evaluate it. At the same time, the district is preparing for major changes, including a school closure and staffing reductions affecting classrooms and students. If financial challenges were known in advance, it is reasonable to ask what steps were taken to prepare and how resources were prioritized during that time. If those challenges were indeed known years in advance, it is reasonable for residents to ask what steps the district itself took to prepare. While the district was facing declining enrollment, anticipated budget rate pressures, and the possibility of future staffing reductions, administration compensation continued to increase during the same period. At a time when the district has cited financial pressures requiring school closures, staffing reductions, and budget cuts affecting classrooms and students, these increases raise legitimate questions regarding budget priorities, long-term financial planning, and the allocation of limited resources. Residents also have a right to understand how compensation increases provided to administrators compared to those provided to teachers, support staff. I also have a question for our town administration. As a resident, why am I having to seek assistance from state agencies, including the Public Records Division of the Secretary of the Commonwealth's Office, to obtain information that has been requested locally for months? If the town has been unable to obtain this information despite formal requests dating back to April, what additional steps are being taken to ensure that the school district is accountable to the taxpayers who fund it? The residents of Warren provide millions of dollars to the school district through our tax dollars. While the district may operate independently, taxpayers deserve transparency and residents deserve access to the information necessary to make informed decisions. This is not about opposition to education. It is about accountability. If these decisions are sound, then providing a detailed budget should not be a problem. I am asking residents to consider whether approval should be moved forward without first receiving full transparency. Transparency builds trust, and transparency should come before approval, not after it. Thank you.
Thank you. It's up to you. Okay.
Steve Duff, resident of Warren, superintendent of schools for the Quabog Regional School District. Just so that the town members do know that, I'm sorry.
Hold on. Go ahead.
Just so that the town members do know, first off, I want to thank the school committee. I've been in the district for 15 years. I've been a resident for over 20 years. This has been the most difficult budget season that we have had since we've started this process. Transparency starts with open public meetings. We've had public meetings since November all the way through to last week discussing the budget. We of the budget due to the financial complications that we had with the town of West Brookfield, and to Town Administrator Ferreira's comments about the town having a fully serviced budget. The Quabog Regional School District does not have a fully serviced budget. In fact, we have a reduction of about $1.8 million, including the closing of one of our elementary buildings, so that we are planning for our future fiscal responsibility as we do every year. When we come to the town meeting every single year, we ask for what we think that our towns can support. We work collaboratively with our town departments, both in Warren and West Brookfield. I would invite any resident, as we do, to come to any of the 16 building budget subcommittee meetings we have that are public meetings, to go through every single line item. If you look at our budget and you look at an over $20 million budget and you have a 1% increase, I think that the school district is doing everything they can to support our local assessments. To discuss the administrative salaries, I would beg to differ that anybody in the public sector that works for this town, like every administrator and every teacher did this year, took a 2% raise. So to have large increases, my raise was 2%, teachers' raises were 2%, our facilities director's raise was 2%, our vice principals, our business manager, 2%. As a district, it is my belief that we model what our expectations for our teachers are, and what we do for our teachers, we're going to do for our staff. In addition, I would like to point out that with the assistance of Town Administrator Ferreira, and this is a very difficult conversation to have, our teachers went without a contract for over 6 months in this school within our district, because we needed to fight, because we knew what the financial situations in our towns were. And we settled on a 2%, 2.5%, 2.5% raise, because that's what we thought was fiscally responsible for our towns and the community members that we serve. So I would say that the school district does do everything to look forward. We've looked at regional agreements. We've partnered with the town to bring in green community grants. We don't ask for capital improvement projects from our town. We did ask for $60,000 for the first time last year for lighting on our fields. We work tremendously hard to bring grant money into this town, into our school district, so that the assessments for our town residents do not increase, to keep them lower. So I would say that the school is doing their job, and we will continue to do our job, and we will continue to work with all of the members of our community to support each other, because at the end of the day, we're all on the same team. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Yes, ma'am.
I think the only real question is, everybody's missing the point. We come in tonight and we get this thing. Who has time to go through all this? Every single year, except last year, I've been voting for a long time. The school report was always in the town report, and it hasn't for the last 2 years. So you come in and say, let's vote these few $1 million. Sure. You know, it's ridiculous.
Thank you. Anyone else? Excuse me. Seeing none, we're going to move to a vote on this. Lori, are you set? Open the vote, please. Five seconds. Close the vote. The motion carries. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, Article 5 is sponsored by the Board of Sewer Commissioners, and the motion is going to read as follows. I move Article 5 as printed in the warrant. So moved. Do I have a second? I have a motion and a second. Is there any discussions regarding the motion in Article 5? Sir, back there? You're going to have to speak up if you're not coming down.
I got one quick question.
Gotcha.
How many employees at the sewer department?
I'll see if I can get that answer for you, sir. James?
There is currently a chief operator, an assistant chief operator, a laborer mechanic, and a secretary.
Anyone else? Seeing none. Oh, I'm sorry. Yep. I need to hear you. We need to hear.
Can I get the salary for the chief operator, please?
Can't hear you. Can you?
Can I get the salary for the chief operator, please?
Try that one.
I'm sorry, I don't have the report.
So, Marcy, I can't give you an exact amount. I can certainly give you a range. It's going to be somewhere between, you know, depending on overtime and additional shifts that he may cover, somewhere between 85 to 87,000.
Thank you. And if I got a copy of the annual report, it would be in there for all 5 employees?
No. Lori?
Sorry, I can't hear you. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? Yes, sir? In the back?
All right, so my name's Mike Starziak. I've been living 66 years in West Warren. You said there's 4 employees and the wages are $343,000 and one was $80,000. That don't add up somehow. I mean, if one's making 80, he's probably the top guy. I mean, this, you're talking like almost 100,000 per person working. For wage, because that says wages, $343,808. If there's 4 employees, secretary maybe makes 25. I mean, it sounds like everybody's making over $100,000 there, so could you kind of clarify this for me?
Travis, you coming down?
Hi, Travis Baker, Chair of the Sewer Commission. So part of the salaries is we currently have 4 positions. There is 1 open position at the plant that we haven't filled yet. So that salary is including a 5th position that we'd like to fill, but so far it hasn't been. I'd rather have, we wanted the budget for it and have the money instead of not budgeting for it.
Thank you. So to answer the original question, there's a total of 5 salary positions at the sewer department. Anyone else? Seeing none?
I just have a question.
You have a question?
Yeah. So this total,
Can you get closer to the mic, please?
sorry, this total, the 959,870, that's just what they're taking from the budget. Where's all the money that they're collecting from the quarterly bills? Like, those are extreme too. So is that part of this? Or is that on top of it?
I have somebody coming behind you, ma'am.
So that budget, that comes from all the money that we collect in the bills every quarter. Every year we have a little bit left over. That goes into retained earnings, which is used for, later upgrades, maintenance, expensive projects that we don't have planned throughout the year.
The sewer department is an enterprise fund, so the user fees supply the budget. So if you're not on sewer, this doesn't matter to you. If you live in town and you're on sewer, then this matters to you.
Thank you. Anyone else? Seeing none, we're going to move to a vote. Lori, you ready? Open the vote, please. 5 seconds. Close the vote. Motion carries. Article 6, sponsored by the Town Administrator, and the motion reads as follows. I move that the town vote to raise and appropriate $500 to fund an annual grant for a Warren nonprofit 5013C organization, the Clowning for Kids Foundation, Inc. Thank you. Do I have a second? Second. Motion and a second. Does anybody have any questions? Stand up, young lady.
Sorry, guys, I know I have a lot of questions tonight. So I know that the town does those for each of the kids' sports, like baseball, basketball, all the sports. And those are directly used by the town for the kids. Can you tell me how many times Clowning for Kids has done stuff in town for the kids? Because I don't know of any. So what are they doing in town with the kids that this gets allocated to them?
Thank you, Darren. That's a very good question. The Clowning for Kids organization, when I first started here, the Clowning for Kids organization reached out and wanted to sit down and talk with me. And when they came and they wanted to sit down and talk with me, all of their members, their board members are active town residents. And they came to me and they said, there's so many other communities, around the state that recognizes the nonprofit Clowning for Kids. The hometown where this is founded doesn't really recognize the Clowning for Kids organization. Is there some way that we can change that? There's other communities that make donations to have them come into their parades so that they can give money back to the community. So to answer the question, they give money back to local children that are in need, that may need school supplies, may need clothing, may need some assistance. They give it back in the form of a scholarship or a grant of some sort. We're looking to provide a grant to them that they would apply for, and that we could then help them help local kids.
Thank you. Anyone else? Ma'am?
Hi, Tracy Mazer, Clowning for Kids, Dots the Clown. We provide monthly clown classes free of charge to Warren residents and children from other towns as well. Unfortunately, not very many people have taken advantage of this program. However, we also give back into the local community. We go out on a volunteer basis. We raise funds, as Jim mentioned, through clowning in parades around New England and other events. And that money does come back into Warren, but we do not advertise our assistance. The assistance is custom to every child that we help, and we keep their private needs private. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much for that. Anyone else? Seeing none, we're going to move to a vote, please. Lori, you ready? Open the vote, please. Five seconds. Close the vote, please. The motion carries. Article 7, excuse me, is also sponsored by the Town Administrator, and the motion reads as follows. I move that the town vote to transfer from free cash the sum of $25,000, the OPEB Trust Fund, other post-employment benefits. So moved. Do I have a second? I have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion regarding this article? Yes, sir, in the back. So the question is can we expand on what other post-employment benefits are? And I think I'm going to ask the Town Administrator.
Thank you. So those are benefits that we have to pay out when people retire. So we have an unfunded liability in the town as people retire. We are putting money away to fund that unfunded liability. So we're paying down our debt for that liability.
Thank you, sir. Anyone else? Seeing none. Lori, you ready? You ready? Open the vote, please. Five seconds. Close the vote. The motion carries. Article 8, sponsored by the town administrator, and the motion reads as follows. I move that the town vote to transfer from free cash the sum of $25,000 to fund ongoing maintenance and repairs to town buildings. Do I have a second? Motion and a second. Do I have any discussion regarding this article? Seeing none, we'll move to a vote. Lori, you ready? Open the vote, please. Five seconds. Close the vote. The motion carries. Article 9, sponsored by the town administrator. I move that the town vote to transfer from capital stabilization the sum of $300,000 to fund a heating, ventilation, and air conditioning improvement project at the senior center. Jen? Thank you. Do I have a second? Second. Motion and a second. Is there any discussion regarding this article, please? Sir?
Again, Mike Starsiak. For like 40 years, I've been coming to these meetings, and when the senior center stuff came up, I kept my mouth shut because I wasn't a senior center citizen. Well, I am now. So where, in God's name, did you come up with $300,000 for heating and ventilation? You could build a whole house for that. Where'd you get the estimates? How many estimates? And exactly what's getting done?
Mr. Ferrera?
Thank you, and that's a very fair question. So, as you may recall, the town, we applied for a Green Communities grant about 2 years ago to replace the air handling unit at the senior center. We got the grant, the air handling unit was replaced, the grant paid for the air handling unit. The air handling unit was about $170,000 to install. We got that all paid for through a grant. The seniors were ecstatic. We were all ecstatic. We got it done. When the extreme weather comes, extreme heat or extreme cold, we've noticed that the air handling unit, it's a brand new unit, is overworking. And it is working too much to keep up with the needs of the building. And so, as you may recall, last annual town meeting, we came before you to fund a engineering study to look at the ductwork and why this air handling unit was overworking. And it was identified by Ty and Bond that the ductwork that was tied into the air handling unit is faulty, is old. It's actually duct board, which is not currently up to code. It has holes in it. It's all been, a lot of it's not connected anymore. There's been an addition added on to the senior center. So there's been some changes in some ways in which the air handling and the duct board has mapped out in that building. So it was the recommendation in the study that was done by Ty and Bond, an engineering firm, that we need to replace the ductwork and also install some additional heating units in the bathrooms, as well as some additional mini splits to make sure that the optimization of the senior center for heating and cooling periods is optimized, and that our brand-new air handling unit, which we got off of a grant, does not get destroyed because it's overworking itself. So $300,000 is a lot of money because we have to pay prevailing wages, we have to follow all of the procurement laws. That is the estimate that came out from a third party, from Ty and Bond, of what it would cost to do the work. We're hopeful that if we get the funding tonight, then we can continue on and go out to bid. We're hopeful that maybe it will come in a little bit less. But right now, with the way pricing is, that's what their estimators are estimating it at.
Thank you. Anyone else? Yes, ma'am?
I go to the senior center just about every day, and I can vouch for, we froze this winter, and we're sweating now. They had a big fan going at the senior center just to keep the air moving, but we weren't getting any cool air. Now, everybody might say, oh, well, that's a lot of money. But just remember this, you're going to be senior citizens someday, too.
I'm almost there. Thanks. Sharon? Great point.
Good evening. I'm the Senior Center Director, Sharon Melly, also a town resident. Yes, Jim Ferrara, our town administrator, got the grant for us for the new heating and cooling unit. Yes, we were thrilled. Unfortunately, we realized in the summer of last year that it was shutting down. We have to go out and reset it constantly in the winter and in the summer. In the winter, the custodian Mike had to go down. I've gone down. The fear is the pipes are going to freeze. The people are cold, or they're hot now. So yeah, I reset it just yesterday twice. Hopefully it comes on. We're concerned that the system's going to be compromised, and maybe any warranties will be null and void because the system is not working as it was intended to work. The building is used for a lot of people, not just seniors. We do a lot of library things. We have kids in there. Currently, all our town meetings have been down there. Adam just had a wonderful ATV class down there, fire department. A lot of use in there. It's a wonderful building. We are in full support of this, and we ask you to help us out here. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? Sir?
Hi, my name is Jim Allard, and I want to bring up two things. First of all, Clowning for Kids, I happen to be the founder, and I appreciate tonight's vote. And I want everyone to know that the monies allocated tonight, 100% of it goes to help children, our children, surrounding towns' children. It does not go to adults. It actually goes to children under the age of 16. And I agree with Mike. I agree with the expense that we all incur. I just happened to have a mishap, a fire in West Warren, and I want everyone to know that the prices are just outrageous. The equipment alone, just in the laundromat, is close to $145,000. That's just washing machines and dryers. The building itself is standing close to $1,700,000. I'm astonished, but we're not paying prevailing rate, and the town has to pay prevailing rate, and that's a big chunk of it. So it's just too bad, but I support the senior center.
Thank you, sir. Anyone else? Sir?
I agree, I think everybody will hear me. I agree with that senior citizens deserve that building to be redone correctly. My question is, 2 years, it's not the old system to me. Was there any warranty on it, the system that was put in? 2 years, to me, is almost brand new.
So Igor, the ductwork has been there probably for over 30 years. So the system is brand new that we got off a grant. The ductwork had nothing to do with what we got from the grant.
Thank you. Anyone else? Seeing none, we're going to move to a vote. Laura, you set? Open the vote, please. Five seconds. Close the vote. The motion carries. Okay, Article 10. This is sponsored by the Fire Department, and the motion reads as follows. I move Article 10 as printed in the warrants. So moved. Do I have a second? I have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion regarding Article 10? Chief?
Good evening again. I just wanted to explain this article so everyone's aware of what they're voting on. We've done this a couple of times for members that have served a tremendous amount of years on the fire department. Stephen Perkins, the Perkins family is very well known in town. He's been on the fire department for over 45 years. Legally, in the state of Massachusetts, you cannot continue on the fire department past the age of 65. In order to do that, you have to have and eventually makes its way to the governor's office for signature to allow a person to continue past then. Stephen Perkins we did this for him once before. There was a technical issue with the language that allowed it only to 67 and not 70. He'd like to continue to 70. He feels he's physically fit enough. He will have a physical. Stephen has spent his entire career working at Flexcon on his family's farm. He's very well built. I believe he has the physical ability to do that. So he would like to continue to the age of 70, not past that. This would allow us to petition the government to be able to for that to happen.
Thank you, Chief. Anyone else?
Is Mr. Perkins here tonight?
I'm sorry, ma'am?
Is Mr. Perkins here tonight?
Do you have a question?
For someone to be a part of our community for so long and to still want to be attributing to our community like this, I think he just deserves some recognition for his service for all these years and the fact that he wants to continue. So even though he's not here tonight, please pass my thanks to him.
Thank you. And anyone else? Seeing none, we're going to move to a vote, please. Lori, you set? Open the vote. Five seconds. Close the vote. The motion carries. Article 11, sponsored by the Fire Department. The motion reads as follows. I move that the town vote to transfer from free cash the sum of $8,800 to replace a utility trailer for the fire department. Do I have a second? Motion's been made and seconded. Any discussion? Chief, you're up.
Good evening. So this trailer is currently housed at our Station B in West Warren. It currently is towed by our Engine 4, and it has our Kubota off-road vehicle on it that now has a skid unit on it, so we can use it for multiple things, which include not only brush fires, forest fires, but also for patient transport out in and out of the woods if someone was hurt on a trail or something. Town agreed to upgrade all of our fire suppression, our hoses, our appliances, all of that was funded on there. The trailer that it's currently on is probably about 12 years old at this point. It's a single axle trailer. We are pushing the weight limits of this trailer, and it's really becoming a safety issue to really run it with this equipment that's on it. So we'd like to replace the trailer that we currently have with a dual axle trailer that will hold this in a much safer manner. The trailer that we currently have, there's nothing really wrong with it. It will be repurposed to another department for use for parks or recreation or highway, whoever, but just for safety reasons, we're asking to upgrade to a dual axle trailer so we can continue to use it in a safe manner.
Thank you, Chief. Anyone else? Seeing none. We're going to open the vote. Ready, Lori? Open the vote, please. Five seconds. Close the vote. The motion carries. Article 12. This is sponsored by the Fire Department, and the motion reads as follows. I move that the town vote to transfer from free cash the sum of $5,000 to install a keyless entry system at both Fire Station A and B. Do I have a second? I have a second. Motion is second. Any discussion? Chief?
Just currently, we have just a key system at both stations. It's very antiquated at this point. We have a bunch of new members that have come on through our program at the high school. It's at the point now where we really need to rekey everything because, you know, anytime somebody leaves and we can't get a key back for whatever reason or something goes missing, for security reasons, we need to change those keys. It's becoming very costly to do that. We would like to move to a keypad and a fob system so that we can have a simple system that we can easily delete people out or grant access to in a much quicker way and not have to worry about paying the very expensive locksmiths and everything going forward. So we'd like to put a keyless entry into both stations to upgrade it and make it easier for our members to get in and out of there.
Thank you, Chief. Anyone else? Ma'am? How? Chief?
So the door at Station A is always open for the most part if there's people there. Obviously, we don't give out keys to the general public for that. Station B is an unmanned station. We generally go down there and get the stuff that we need when we're down there. But, you know, we've always had an open door policy. As long as somebody's there, people are always welcome into the fire department. I mean, many people come in and talk to me all the time. So, but we, it will be, you know, we already have devices in place. There's actually a couple of doorbells out there. One of them rings directly to us. The other one rings to Rutland itself. So if nobody's there, it's going to go right to our dispatch center.
Thank you, sir. Anyone else? Yes, sir.
Is there a redundancy? Like, you know, I'm not sure if this is battery powered or if it's hardwired. Like, if the power goes out, I'm just curious as to, because $5,000, I mean, we've been talking big money for all this stuff. $5,000 for a keyless entry system seems like it's really cheap. I just want to make sure.
So this was modeled after the same system that the elementary school currently has with the same fobs. The same gentleman was able to quote us a price on that. So yes, there is a battery backup that's tied into the system. So I think it's the system they have there is totally appropriate, and I think it will work well for us.
Thank you, sir. Anyone else? Seeing none, we're going to move to a vote. Lori, you ready? Open the vote, please. Five seconds. Close the vote. The motion passes. Article 13 is sponsored by the Police Department, and the motion reads as follows. I move that the town vote to transfer from free cash the sum of $9,970 for the purchase and setup of 5 desktop computers for the police department. Do I have a second? No, thank you very much. I have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Chief?
Mr. Moderator, just as a formality, did we recognize the chief to be able
Yes.
to speak tonight? Okay,
Yep.
my apologies.
No problem.
So this is to keep up with the security. These current computers were purchased before I took over from the old chief. This past November that just went by, those computers are not up to security. So the programs we run, like CGIS and to access the registry, if we don't keep up with that, they will not give us access to them anymore. So this is to upgrade that system so we stay compliant.
Thank you, sir. Anyone else? Seeing none, we will move to a vote. Lori, you ready? Open the vote, please. Five seconds. Close the vote. Motion carries. Article 14 is sponsored by the Police Department, and the motion reads as follows. I move that the town vote to transfer from free cash the sum of $35,000 to the police cruiser's special stabilization replacement account for the police department. Do I have a second? Motion's been made and seconded. Chief?
Okay, this is to start the process of replacing the next cruiser in line, which would be car 68. Currently has about 90,000 miles on it. This is just to put money into that fund to start that project, which would probably be coming to the next annual meeting to finish it.
Excellent, thank you. Anyone else? Seeing none, sir?
The town administrator may have mentioned it, but do we have a total in free cash?
I don't know if that was mentioned, Stephen, or Mr. Ferraro?
Yep, thank you, Joe. Let me get the total exactly for you. $273,758.90 is available.
Thank you. Anyone else? Seeing none. Laura, you ready? We're going to open the vote, please. Five seconds. Close the vote. Motion carries. Article 15, this is sponsored by the Cable Advisory Committee, and the motion reads as follows. I move that the town vote to appropriate $30,000 from the PEG Access Cable-Related Fund as authorized by Massachusetts General Laws, Chapter 44, Section 53F, F 3/4, as amended, to fund PEG access programming, as well as certain other municipal cable-related expenses for the fiscal year 2027. Do I have a second?
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded. Any discussion regarding this article? Seeing none. Okay. We're going to move to a vote. Laura, you ready? Open the vote, please. Five seconds. Close the vote. Motion carries. Article 16 is also sponsored by the Cable Advisory Committee. Just 1 second, ladies and gentlemen.
Mr. Moderator, I just want to make a motion that we suspend that article indefinitely.
Okay, there's a motion on the floor to suspend. Motion to pass over, and it's been seconded. Thank you, council. Is there any discussion why we're passing it over? We're good, just in case? No? Seeing none? I'm going to do a voice vote on this. We're going to do a voice vote on this. We're not going to use the clickers because it's not typed in for the clerk because it's a motion, it's amending this motion or this article. So I'm going to just ask for a simple yes and no. So all those in favor of passing over on this article, signify by saying yes. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. So it's passed over. Article 17. This is sponsored by the Board of Selectmen. I move that the town vote to reauthorize the spending limits of the revolving funds as printed in the warrant. So moved. Do I have a second? I have a second. Thank you. Is there any questions regarding Article 17? Seeing none. No? Okay, we're going to move to a vote. Lori, can you open that vote, please? You ready? It's open. Five seconds. Close the vote, please. The motion carries. Article 18. This is sponsored by the Treasurer, and the motion reads as follows. I move that the town vote to accept accounts and trust, the income of which to be expended for the perpetual care maintenance of burial lots at Pine Grove Cemetery for the following individuals for the 1909 plan of said cemetery as follows. Sandra L. Tebow and Lisa Tebow, Section F, lots 33, $300. Zach Black, Section F, lots 29 and 30, $600. And Harriet Griffiths, Section F, lot 31, $300. Do I have a second? I have a motion and a second. Is there any discussions regarding this article? Seeing none, we'll open the vote. Open the vote, please. Five seconds. Close the vote. The motion carries. Article 19, sponsored by the Town Treasurer, and the motion reads as follows. I move that the town vote to authorize the treasurer to enter into compensation balance agreements during fiscal year 2027 as permitted by General Law, Chapter 44, Section 53F. I have a second? Motion's been made and seconded. Is there any discussions regarding this article? Yes, ma'am? Can I repeat the motion? Yep, I will. The motion read as follows. I move that the town vote to authorize the treasurer to enter into a compensating balance agreement during fiscal year 2027 as permitted by general law, chapter 44, section 53F. You're welcome. Any questions? Seeing none, we're going to move to a vote. Lori, open the vote, please. Five seconds. Close the vote. The motion carries. Article 20, the Senior Center, this is sponsored by the Senior Center Director, and the motion reads as follows. I move that the town vote to transfer from free cash the sum of $6,000 to have a property survey done of the Warren Senior Center located at 2252 Main Street in West Warren. Do I have a second? Second. Motion's made and seconded. Ma'am?
Why is this on here? Who put it here?
Thank you.
Well, sorry, go ahead.
Thank you, Leona. So if you drive by the senior center, you will notice that there are parking, there are neighbors that park their car on what they claim to be their property. And it makes it a lot more difficult for us to plow and clear the lot in the wintertime. And then there's also all of the abutters of the property. You know, there was questions as to whether or not we could put a fence up and where are the meets and bounds of the property of the town. We have checked with the building department, with the planning department to see if they have any maps or any types of survey work that has been done to identify the meets and bounds of the property. I have not found that yet, and it has been recommended that we have a survey done of the property.
Thank you. Sir?
Yeah, so in other words, the town never had a survey done on this, and where'd you come up with $6 grand? Because I did 21 acres just 2 years ago for less than that, and an acre and a half. That was really confusing for much less than that, so where'd $6 grand come from?
We called around to a few professional surveyors, licensed surveyors that would identify the meets and bounds of the property, do the location of all of the plots and pin it, as well as a full survey map. And it ranged anywhere from $4,000 to $6,000. So we don't have a final number yet.
Yes, ma'am?
You check with the building department and the planning board, and you check with the assessor.
I think that's to you, sir.
The Board of Assessors doesn't retain surveys and things. We've encountered this issue before. It's a town property, so it's not assessed, right? Like a property belonging to a taxpayer. And if we did receive a survey in the course of our work, those surveys are returned to the people that those surveys belong to. So I'm just addressing the fact. I'm happy to be on the Board of Assessors. Thank you. Yes, you're welcome.
Thank you. Anyone else? Yes, ma'am?
I think what's in question is the parking spots next to the building next door, and those definitely belong to that club.
Thank you. Anyone else? Sir?
The people at home that are watching this on TV are having a hard time hearing people not coming up to the mic. So it was asked if everyone would politely come to the mic so the people at home could hear the discussions.
Thank you. Anyone else? Seeing none, we're going to move to a vote. Laura, you ready? Open the vote, please. Five seconds. Close the vote. Motion carries. Article 21, sponsored by the Park and Recreation Department. I move that the town vote to transfer from free cash the sum of $14,000 to pay for hosting fiscal year 2027 fireworks organized by the Park and Recreation Department. Do I have a second? Motion's been made and seconded. Any discussion regarding this article? Sir?
Hi, I'm Pat Cheslak, Warren resident. Just one question. You said there was about $230,000, $250 in free cash. We've approved $300,000. Was that like after all the warrants, or is that before? Because there's a lot more than that. So are we actually raising and appropriating to cover this, or?
Thank you. No, we are not raising and appropriating. If the motion had said raise and appropriate, then we would. There is in free cash available $273,758.90. The $300,000 big ticket item that I think that you're referring to that we approved, the senior center ductwork project, that came from capital stabilization.
Oh, okay. But there's the 127 that's coming later.
Yes.
Right.
So we have enough money to cover all of these expenses with free cash.
Yeah, and
to have some money to turn back.
All right, and generally, like, how much do we like to keep in free cash?
Well, we're going to have anywhere between 3 to 5%, but all of our free cash, because it's the end of the fiscal year, is going to turn to zero come June 30th. So we'll get a new free cash calculation once free cash is certified in the fall. We're expecting that to be a sizable, decent amount, given the fact that we've been very busy doing a lot of collecting of taxes, as well as the auction money that we collected.
Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? Seeing none, we'll move to a vote. Laura, you ready? Open the vote, please. Five seconds. Close the vote. The motion carries. Article 22, this is sponsored by the Planning Board. The motion reads as follows. I move that the town vote to amend the floodplain district zoning bylaw, Town of Warren zoning bylaws, Section 10, floodplain district, as printed in the proposed amended bylaw on record with the town clerk. Do I have a second? Second. I have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion regarding this article?
Mr. Moderator, on May 11, 2026, the Planning Board voted 4 members recommended approval of this article at the 2026 annual town meeting.
Thank you. Ma'am?
I've got a copy of the proposed floodplain district zoning bylaw amendment by the Planning Board report for the annual town meeting, Article 22. It references...
Gene, come closer.
Really?
Yeah.
It references Section 10 in the bylaws. I can't even see that in the bylaws that are recently... Yes, the zoning bylaws. Thank you, Karen.
This is a rewrite. We're replacing Section 10 with a new Section 10.
Okay, so how many pages is this one?
Oh, that's general bylaws. Those aren't zoning bylaws.
Oh, there's a whole nother book for that?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, great.
If you go to the Planning Board page on the website, there's a bylaw link, and you'll get your zoning bylaws.
I like black and white. How about the FEMA maps? I researched this article, and I tried to look up the FEMA maps, and I couldn't see it.
Yes,
Would the town council like to speak on the FEMA maps? We're paying you.
Well, so the maps are being updated, and we will get new maps. That's part of actually, we needed to pass this new zoning bylaw to go with the maps. So they go hand in hand.
Thank you, ma'am. Go ahead. Go ahead.
So currently, if you look up a FEMA map, it's not updated, and you're going to put a bylaw in place that covers an area that puts it all in a floodplain district and changes insurance and...
They're working on it. They've updated it. I don't know, where were you looking?
Zone A.
I mean, what was your source? Were you looking on the town website, or were you looking?
No, I'm looking at the proposed floodplain district zoning bylaw amendment. Sorry. MGL, Chapter 40A, Section 5. And I tried to find any FEMA maps. The floodplain district.
The
Sorry, I
map
don't mean to-
isn't included in the bylaw in Section 10. The maps would be obtained through the state.
Yeah, I couldn't find any of that
And they're
on the internet.
referenced. Yeah, I mean, they should be up there. I mean, this is part and parcel, it's all together. Updating the map, getting the new bylaw.
Great. So can you speak personally where the floodplain district is now in Zone A as far as downtown?
I can't, not with accuracy. No,
Zone AE?
no. I mean, it's going to
Okay.
be along the river,
All right.
you know.
Thank you.
And
I'm against this article.
thank you. Anyone else?
Can I just throw in, we do have some people who use federal flood insurance. If we don't pass this, they don't get flood insurance anymore. So this is kind of important to pass.
I definitely understand that, but what zone are they in? Because I'm right downtown and I don't have to have it, and I've had insurance on my house for 26 years. So,
Oh, so you're wondering if your house is now in it?
no, I'm not wondering that. I'm just wondering what Zone A is, and I tried to look up the website and I couldn't find anything on the map. But to your, yes, I understand you're trying to protect people, because it's all about getting new permits and everything else, and it's all about insurance. Thank you, thank you.
Okay. My name is Joyce Ihawker. I'm on the Warren Conservation Commission. We use, you're welcome. We use, it's called the FEMA Fermet. So you can look up, Google FEMA, and they have maps called Fermets. Zone A is likely not going to change. It's if the area is going to flood, that is like the guaranteed flood area. It's like and then everything after that decreases with related to insurance. So they're updating the maps because before they were measuring, this is just a little thing, it'll make it fast. They used to measure only horizontally, not taking into consideration elevation. And so now they're updating, they're considering elevation, they're considering the distance, and they're considering the new version of storms that we're experiencing. So that's what we'll be seeing on the maps. Does that help?
Yes, it does. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you. Anyone else? Seeing none, we're going to move to a vote. Laura, are you ready? Open the vote, please. It'll stay up. It'll close it. It'll do it 2/3. Right.
On the downtown, we need a two-thirds vote, the zoning bylaw.
I understand that now, but I already opened
That's fine.
Well, we can figure it out, so, yes. That's fine. So, as we get ready to close the vote, I just want to let everybody know, this is a 2/3 vote for it to pass, so we may have to do some calculation once we close. Don't go by the green or black until we actually look at the numbers, please. So close the vote, please. Motion passes. Article 23. This is sponsored by the Highway Surveyor, and the motion reads as follows. I move that the town vote to transfer from free cash the sum of $127,083.53 to fund the fiscal year 2026 snow and ice deficit, and to authorize the town accountant to allocate such funds to appropriate snow and ice accounts. So moved. Do I have a second? Second. Any discussion regarding this article? Seeing none. Sir, go ahead.
Do we know how much the previous year's snow and ice deficits have been?
They've been much less than this, but it was a really bad winter.
What's the plan for future budgets to try and, maybe the winners will get on a real bad streak. So what's the plan to try and alleviate the possibility of this kind of large deficit in the future?
So here's the thing. The Finance Committee has discussed this. If we increase the budget, we have to keep it at that number. That's our new threshold. So if we don't increase it, we can obviously deficit spend and then just replenish what we need with free cash. So you have to, once you change that budget number, it's locked into that number. So we can't fluctuate it year after year.
Thank you for that explanation. Do we know what is driving the deficit? Is this just like salt? Is this overtime wages?
It's a combination of both. I mean, we had a really bad winter this year. The trucks were out nonstop. We had tons of salt on the road. We had ice events, snow events. I mean, Jeremy, I'm sure, can tell you and attest to all of that.
Yeah, we had 34 snow and ice events this winter. Myself and my crew spent a cumulative, I think it was 56 days this winter plowing, sanding, removing snow. The average is in the 30s as far as days, and storms are low 20s. The events were long. They came on weekends. They came on holidays. Our payroll was off the charts compared to where it usually is. So that's what drove, on top of the fact that this was the worst winter since 14-15. So it's been over 10 years, so it's hard to compare previous years to this one. Good news is we have a super El Nino brewing in the Pacific, which means a warm, wet winter next year.
Thank you. Oh. Anyone else? See? Go ahead.
Sorry, just one question. And Jeremy, you can probably answer this for me. So on the line by line that we did earlier, there's a new line for the highway that says part-time on-call salaries. Will that offset some of this? Because that's a new one for this year. So what's the difference?
So it's actually not a new one. What we did was combined a couple of line items for part-time, because part-time help was listed in with full-time help. Because last year we created a line item to help with construction projects. This year, Finance Committee decided to combine all the part-time salaries into one line item. So it looks bigger, but it's all the same money. It just got shuffled around from different accounts. So.
Thank you. Anyone else? Seeing none. I'm going to open the vote. Laura, you ready? Open the vote, please. Five seconds. Close the vote. The motion carries. Article 24, sponsored by the Board of Health, and the motion reads as follows. I move that the town vote to authorize the Board of Selectmen to enter into a contract extending the current 3-year contract for the transfer station operated for Solid Waste Solutions, LLC, for an additional 2 years, to commence on June 30th, 2026, and on June 30th, 2027. Do I have a second? I have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion regarding this article? Seeing none. We'll move to a vote. Laura, you ready? Open the vote, please. Five seconds. Close the vote. Motion carries. Article 25, and this is sponsored by the town administrator, and the motion reads as follows. I move that the town vote to transfer from fiscal year 2026 legal expense the sum of $10,000 to the tax title collection revolving fund. Do I have a second? Second. Motion's been made and seconded. Is there any discussion regarding this article? Seeing none, we will move to a vote. Laura, you ready? Open the vote, please. Five seconds. Close the vote. The motion carries. So, ladies and gentlemen, that concludes the annual town meeting for this evening, so I'm going to make a motion to adjourn. Seconded. So moved. All in favor? Aye. Thank you very much. Drive safe. Have a good evening.